Guru Nation, how's it going? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. Look, I'm really excited about this one. I've been trying to grow my TikTok channel in the past few months, and it's actually been working. And the other day I actually got a really good question from TikTok. I don't think this is the first question I got from TikTok, but it's the first one in recent times. So it says, can you do a video on how to become an entrepreneur in clinical research? And this, I'm going to try to keep this short. Here's the answer. I believe anyone can do it. However, there's a huge caveat and asterisk: with enough experience. There are so many different stakeholders in clinical research. There's research sites. For those that didn't read my book, you got to get it. I try to give a macro overview over how the research industry works. So you've got the research sites, you've got the CROs, you've got the sponsors, you've got the vendors, and then you've got the regulatory bodies too. All those organizations, all those stakeholders hire employees. They obviously all serve different functions. They all hire employees too. So in this industry, I think it's one of the easiest industries excuse me, I think it's one of the easiest industries to go from employee to entrepreneur. Why? Because this industry spends so much money. There's so much churn as far as money changing hands in this industry. It's multi-billion, like hundreds of billions of dollars churning in this industry. From the sites, CROs, sponsors, regulators, vendors, especially the vendors. Now, the vendors are probably one of the biggest stakeholders revenue-wise. And here's why I think employees make great entrepreneurs in this industry. Number one, there's so many pain points. Tons. Talk to anybody. This is why I say networking is important. If you're an employee right now in research and you feel like you have entrepreneurial spirit and entrepreneurial chops, you need to start talking to people. And you need to start taking mental notes of what the pain points are in this industry. There's tons of them. Patient recruitment's probably one of the biggest ones. Diversity, technology, decentralization, workflows, sites having issues with everything, CROs having issues with training, CROs having issues with retention, regulators. I'm not that experienced on the regulator side. I've only done a few audits in my life, but they obviously probably have problems too, a lot of pain points. So here's the point of all this. If you're not in the industry and you think you want to be a clinical research entrepreneur, get a job in the industry. Don't try to guess. I have all these students now from business school that have never done a day's work in clinical research. Ask me questions about, hey, I've identified this pain point of how to identify patients from a database and using AI and algorithms to figure out which patients to funnel to which sites. And I tell them all that stuff is great. It's great for your school. It might give you an A on your homework assignment, but it's not going to necessarily generate revenue. Why? Because you'll see when you actually work in the space, the sites, for those tech vendors, in the example I've used, the sites need to adopt these technologies even when they're free for the CROs and sponsors to even want to begin to talk to them. So my advice to people not in the industry that want to disrupt the industry, what an overused term. Get a job in the industry first. Learn the pain points from the ground up, from a practical approach. If you already are in the industry, chances are you've already run across a bunch of pain points. Stop looking at those pain points as problems and start looking at those pain points as opportunities. Because the whole reason why entrepreneurship exists and why entrepreneurs can become successful is because they recognize how to turn problems into opportunities. So if you're a CRA and you notice pain points, you're going to notice tons. If you're a coordinator and you notice pain points, you're going to notice tons. Try to figure out where those pain points are and where your interests and your passion overlap with those pain points, because that's the only way you're going to see it through. Can you be an entrepreneur and create a product that you're not passionate about? Yes, you can. Do you have a much greater chance of success if you're actually passionate about that thing as well? Yes, of course. Because the first year or two or even longer of running your own business is not fun. It's the hardest you'll ever work for money in your life. Now, there's different levels of entrepreneurship. There's very practical, pragmatic, and like technically you're an entrepreneur. The simplest one is independent contractors. Guess what? You're self-employed. You are generating your own income, not through employment, but through contracts that you get, whether you're a CRA, whether you're an auditor, whether you're a patient recruiter, whether you're a coordinator, whatever the case may be. If you're an independent contractor, you're self-employed, you're an entrepreneur. All right? There's another level is the kind of entrepreneurship that you can scale. Because those self-employed, yes, you're an entrepreneur, but you can't really leverage your time. You're still stuck in that time for money formula. It's just one step better than an employee. And by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with being an employee. And I guess this is a good segue. Do I think everybody should be an entrepreneur? Hell no. Do I think it's possible? What did I say at the beginning of this video? Is it possible for anyone in clinical research who's been an employee to become an entrepreneur? Yes. Because they understand the pain points and you can learn how to be an entrepreneur. Now here's the thing. I see a lot of CRAs. We talk about leveraging time from money, right? So if you go from employee to independent contractor, you are self-employed now. You're technically an entrepreneur, but you still are not leveraging time. If you're a site owner and you can start hiring staff and you can take on more studies than you personally can handle because you've hired staff members, that's the stage that I'm in right now with Yuma Clinical Trials. I can't find labor right now. I only have one person. She's a CRC Academy graduate that works remotely for me. And then I have my wife and a few other business partners that are helping, but I have no real employees, so it's just me. So I'm technically just self-employed right now. I can't even call myself an entrepreneur until I can start hiring people to do studies and then leveraging time, basically creating more time than there is through people's work. And what I've noticed is a lot of people get stuck at the place that I'm in right now and never make it past the studies they can do. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I would make very good money just doing all the work myself, but I wouldn't be able to do all this other stuff. I wouldn't be able to do videos. I wouldn't be able to do my CRA Academy, CRC Academy, Latinos in Clinical Research, all that stuff. I wouldn't be able to do because all my time would be spent at my site. So once you start hiring people, you become more of an entrepreneur. You free yourself from the shackles and the constraints of time. You defy physics. You defy the laws of physics. Now, all right, is entrepreneurship for everybody? No. Can everybody in research who's been an employee and seen enough pain points and realize that they can overlap their passions with those pain points be successful? Yes. It's probably one of the easiest industries to be an entrepreneur. Why? Because the pain points are so obvious and there's such a need for it. You don't even have to be very good to be an entrepreneur and have your company become successful. You can see this in the software space in our industry with decentralization and patient centricity and remote monitoring and wearables and eSource and eReg. There's entrepreneurs behind all those companies. And a lot of them are not even good, but they're just good enough to be competitive. Why do I say hell no to can anyone be an entrepreneur? Because if you're somebody who's so constricted with frameworks and models and business plans and SOPs, that's the exact opposite skill set of what you need to be an entrepreneur. You need to think outside the box. You need to figure out how to wear many hats at once. There are no rules for a brand new site. There are no rules for a brand new tech company. You got to get customers by any means necessary. You got to do biz dev like crazy. And a lot of CRAs, I see a lot of CRAs through my consulting company, DSCSO Equity and Investments, where we help people get studies, do their budgets. We see a lot of CRAs that have been CRAs for 10 years fail miserably when they start their own sites. One of the reasons that I think is interesting is they don't see enough of the pain points from the site level, because they've been CRAs their entire career. They haven't actually experienced working at the site level as a coordinator, so they haven't seen enough of the pain points directly. They may think they know what the pain points are at the site level, but they haven't. But you can figure those things out if you have enough passion and you have enough willpower. Now, a lot of people, the reason I say hell no is a lot of people would give up at that point and say, well, it's not what I thought it would be. I'm just going to go back to being an employee. Or they run out of money too quickly. And not money, you don't necessarily have to spend a lot of money for your business to become successful. You just have to work for free for your business for a long time. I moved to Yuma in July of 2021. It's now almost May of 2022. I haven't paid myself a penny from this site. Now again, luckily I have other streams of income. I'm doing well in other businesses to be able to afford this. I can wait another year, honestly. But a lot of people can't. And that's the problem too. They try to force it, they try to rush it. And especially something like site ownership, you can't force, you can't rush that. Now when it comes to like tech and software, you actually have to spend some money. Developers are expensive unless you're able to be a developer. So that gets a little bit more complicated, and you might even need investors and things like that. But when you're a site owner, you don't need any of that. So that's my thoughts on entrepreneurship and clinical research. It's very achievable for anyone. If you want to be an entrepreneur in this space, it's counterintuitive, but get a job in this industry for 2 or 3 years. Figure out the pain points. If you can, try to jump around to different stakeholders. If not, if you feel like you have an idea of where your business idea is going to focus on, then try to stay at those relevant stakeholders. And if you're already in this space, start figuring out every day. Stop looking at things as problems and look at them as opportunities. Where's the pain points? Does that overlap with your passion? Do you have a solution for this? Make it happen. Start networking with people. Start talking to people. Get it done. Take care. The real entrepreneur is going to figure out a way to do it. And the ones that are dreamers are just going to keep dreaming. Guru Nation, like, subscribe, comment, share. Take care.